Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the platform that I personally use to send money internationally, either from Australia to Japan or Japan to Australia or to New Zealand or whatever it may be. For a number of years I've been living in Australia, but like I said, I'm originally from New Zealand, and when I first come to Australia I was sending a lot of money back to New Zealand to invest into property and whatnot, which was great. It was good. I was getting a good exchange rate, getting about an extra 20% on top, sending money back to New Zealand. And at the time I was initially using XE currency exchange, which was fantastic. It was giving me a better rate than what the bank was at the time. And I think it was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. My brother actually put me onto it, so cheers for that, Jay. He said, look, what do you use to transfer money? And I said, I've been using XE, but look into it, see if you can find something better. And he did look into it, and he found a new company that had just started up, and that was called TransferWise. And he said, look, I think TransferWise is probably better. Look at the exchange rate. So I looked it up. From that day forward, I was converted. I jumped over to TransferWise and haven't looked back, honestly. And the platform's just been getting better and better over the last few years. The exchange rates are the best from what I can find. If you can find any other better exchange rates that beat TransferWise, drop it in the comments below and I will gladly look at them. Me personally, I haven't found anything that beats TransferWise yet, especially here in Australia and New Zealand. That's the best rates I can find. It's close to whatever the rate is at that current point in time. And it smashes the pants off the banks, hands down. A lot of people transfer money with the banks because they trust their bank. They've been with the bank for a number of years and whatnot, which I totally understand, especially if you're sending a large amount. Let's say you're sending 100,000 or a couple 100,000, a sizable amount of money. You want to make sure it gets to the other end. You don't want to be like, oh, I'll put it to this third party guy and hopefully he sends it there or whatever it may be. But like I said, I've sent what I consider to be large amounts of money through TransferWise, especially over the last few months. Actually, I've sent a fair bit from New Zealand back to Australia, and also over to Japan as well to keep business afloat over there. We have a business in Japan. If you aren't familiar with that business and you want to learn a bit more about that, I've made a couple of videos about that, so check that out over there. But enough about that though. We're not talking about Japan today, just talking about how we can send money between each sort of 3 countries here, which is, like I said, TransferWise is the best platform that I've personally found. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down, the ways you can send money with TransferWise. It's pretty straightforward, but I'll give you a quick run through just in case you're not familiar with TransferWise. Now it's Wise. They've only recently dropped the transfer, maybe in the last 3 to 6 months. So now it's just Wise. So we'll be running through that, how to send money with TransferWise. We're going to be comparing it to what the banks charge in XE, and you'll see that TransferWise comes in at the best. One thing that you definitely want to look out for, especially if you're looking at other different providers, is some of them quite often offer like zero fees, 0 fees. Oh, that sounds great. Where you might be saving $20 on the fees, but the exchange rate is definitely not as good as what's currently out there. They've knocked a few points off the actual current exchange rate at that time. That's where TransferWise is super transparent, okay? Their fees are right there as you're going through. As you will see in a minute, as I walk you through how to place a transfer, you'll see. It's all there, super straightforward. There's no sort of undercover stuff or anything like that, which the banks, they tend to do a little bit maybe. Exchange rate is the best we could get. Oh, you're quite lucky, that's close to that. That's the market rate at that point in time. I've never actually sent any money with the banks, but I've looked at it before in the past, and then I'd compare it to what I could get with XE. And I'd send it with XE, and then I'll post so forth with now with TransferWise. And honestly, I've not looked back since using TransferWise. So anyway, with that said, let's jump in and check out how TransferWise works. Okay, guys, I'm over on wise.com.au, which, like I said earlier, is formerly known as TransferWise. They've recently changed in about the last 3 or 4 months. I think it's a smart move, good branding, so they won't be just solely known as transferring money. I think they're looking at probably branching out the business a bit further. Anyway, enough about that. Let's just have a quick look over the website. Then we'll look at a report that sort of stacks up where TransferWise sort of stacks up against the opposition as well. Then we'll actually look into my profile, and I'll just run you through quickly how to send money with TransferWise. Scrolling through their website here, they do have a nice little link here to a couple of videos that they've actually made. Super fun little cartoon sort of style videos as well, so I'll leave a link to those if you want to check those out. They are regulated by ASIC. Also, they've been awarded 5 stars for international money transfers through CanStar, which is a provider that looks over all the different sort of financial products out there, whether it's insurance or mortgages or life insurance or whatever it may be, and sort of gives them a star rating. So we'll have a quick look at that report as well. Scrolling down here, they've got a little comparison tool here, so you can actually plug in to see what you would be getting if you were exchanging 1,000 Australian dollars into the British pound, and that was what you'd be getting, $544 in British pounds. And this is exactly what you see here is exactly what you get. There's no little sneaky fees that they tack on once you click through, and they're not trying to upsell you on something else and all like you do when you're trying to book a flight with Jetstar or something. Exactly what you see here is what you get. It's a very slick, streamlined, automated process going through, especially if you've made a payment to the person that you're looking at paying, whether that be yourself or someone else. It gets quicker and quicker. You can get money, sent internationally within half a day. I've had it, especially between Australia and New Zealand, we can get it there within an hour or two. Even Japan, I've had that sort of come in with about, the next day sort of thing, which is pretty incredible. Anyway, let's scroll down here so we can see this is how they just stack up. A little comparison here against the other sort of providers. So the transfer fee there coming in at just over $5, and that is the rate there. And then if you stack that up against the other providers here, see $1,000, it's not making a huge amount of difference between these other, but still, you're saving a few bucks here and there. And then if you start looking down towards, especially the banks, look at Westpac and that, we're talking 25 odd pounds sort of difference there. Which is in Commonwealth really at the bottom of the list there. Anyway, enough of that. Let's jump over and have a quick look over at my profile here. So it's fairly easy to navigate through this, but I'll quickly run you through it just so you guys can get a bit of a basic understanding of how it works. So when you're logging in here, you understand sort of what you're looking at. So down the left here is their main sort of menu, home, that's where we currently are. Then they've got different cards where you can store different currencies on there at whatever exchange rate. This is not something I've personally used. I have signed up for a card, but it's not something I've actually used, so I can't sort of really comment on that. Recipients, this is where you save recipients, especially if you're looking at making payments every month or every couple of months or something. Then definitely I would recommend saving the payments in there. That way when you're going through the payment option, you can just put in that recipient that you formerly paid before. That way it's just super easy, no having to look up the bank details and all the other bits and pieces that you need. Little affiliate link here. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description below if you guys want to jump in, and be much appreciated if you do use my affiliate link. If I get a few people sign up, I think I get £50 here by the looks of things, but at no extra cost to you or anything like that. There's not hindering you in any way, but would greatly support the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button as well. Anyways, and also down here we've got the balances, so you can actually store currencies within your account here as well, especially if you like the exchange rate at the current time and you want to put some money into your account. You can store it in there at that denominated rate on that particular day, which is fantastic, especially if the exchange rate is quite favourable at the time. Look, I don't really sort of try and time the market when it comes to exchange rates or anything like that, but it's something if you've transferred money, for over a number of years, you can kind of see what the usual rate is. And that's also another thing we'll look at in a minute here. They actually show you what the exchange rate's been doing over the last month or year or whatever it may be. And I think down the bottom is the jar, which I think is a little savings account. Once again, it's not something that I use, so I can't really sort of comment on that. But let's say we want to send some money. So we'll click this tab here, and we're going to just go through. I'm not actually going to send money today, but I'll just give you a bit of a run through what you're actually going to be finding here when you're wanting to send money. So we're just waiting for that to load up. And this is because I send a lot of money to Japan for our business in Japan. This is what they've sort of plugged in here because they're thinking, maybe this is what he wants to do. So international transfer we're looking at here. Scroll down, and this you can change whatever figure it may. Maybe send $10,000 or whatever it may be. There's different options for paying as well. You can pay by credit card, pay by Poly, which is all sort of linked up through the banks as well. Which is, I think, Poly from memory is the cheapest option. Or you can set up an actual bank transfer as well if you want to go down that road. So this is how much they're slugging off top their fee. So $9.77 Australian, pretty reasonable. So you're looking at total fees coming in at $11.50 there. And like I said, there's no added extra little niggly bits on top of that. And they'll convert so your total conversion, you'll get, so they'll actually be $988.50. And then with the fee as well taken out of that, you will receive, and that's the current exchange rate, so 84.1191 yen. The recipient will get 83,152 yen. And they'll guarantee that rate for 56 hours. So here we can actually have a bit of a look to see what the rate's been doing over the last 48 hours, or 1 week or 1 month or whatever it may be. So we can sort of see that's sort of looking pretty steady. There's no sort of wild swings or different things there going on with the exchange rate. And it's sort of steadily been going up here by the looks of things. If we go back to the full month, see it sort of dropped off down there a little bit, back up. So it gives you a little bit of a gauge. And then you can actually track that exchange rate if you wanted to get email alerts on what the exchange rate is. You can set an amount. Let's say once it gets to 85 yen to the Australian dollar, they'll send you an email. Say, cool, I've been thinking about that. I want to send some money to Japan or vice versa. Boom, you can send that money. And then here it says you could save up to $38.28 versus the average bank. So we'll look at that in a second here. And it should arrive by June 28th. They will give you more of a firm date once you sort of lock in where you're actually going to be sending that. But let's say here we're going to compare the price to other providers out there at the moment. So here we have Wise coming in at the top of the list, showing you exactly what you're going to be doing. Total transparency here. That's what I love about this platform. It's super transparent about the fees, the exchange rate. They're not trying to sort of hide it niggly in there or anything like that, which some of the banks tend to do. So this is like what the recipient gets. That's there. Now this Up, that's obviously something that's partnered up with Wise. I'm not familiar with Up. Remedy is another provider, and then we've got all the banks down here. Looks like Commonwealth is coming in at the bottom of the list there, and you can see there's quite a considerable difference there. We're talking, just over 3,000 yen, so we're talking sort of 40 odd dollars there Australian, give or take, depends on the exchange rate. That's a dinner out with friends or something like that in Japan. And look, it doesn't sound like much, but like I said earlier, if you're sending a large amount, let's say you're sending 100,000 Australian, that's a huge amount difference. So it's definitely want to be looking at what those exchange rates are. Anyway, so if I'm happy with everything there, I'll click continue, go through, and then it'll go through and say who do I want to pay it to. Like I said, I'm not actually going to be making a transfer today because I don't need to transfer any money. But here I click down either on payments that I've previously made, or I'd go and put a new recipient in. See down here we've got, so either back to myself, someone else, or another business or charity, and you just go through, review it, and then the final option is the pay option, and they've got about 4 or 5 different options there to actually pay them, which you'll put the money into Wise's account, and then that once it clears to their account, then they will transfer it on from there. So I hope that was clear, guys. If you've got any dramas on anything I covered off on there, drop it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to help you out. And like I said, if you're interested in signing up to Wise, be much appreciated if you use that affiliate link, but no pressure. You don't have to use that either.
Right, guys, you can go out and got some value there going over TransferWise. If you've got any questions on anything I've covered off on there, make sure you drop it down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to sort of help you out. There is affiliate link in the description below, which I will get a small commission if you do sign up to them, but there's no extra charge to you or anything like that. So just a little disclaimer there on that one. But like I said, if you've got any dramas or any questions on TransferWise or any other sort of platforms like that, drop it in the comments below. But big things, especially if you're looking at other platforms and comparing it, like I said, always do your own research. Don't just listen to me. But definitely check at the fees that they're charging. Something I always look at, what are the fees? And especially when it comes to sending money, you want to know what those exchange rates are. What's the margin that they're sort of tacking on there? And is it as close to whatever that given sort of exchange rate is at that point in time? And you can set up email alerts every day, where you can, especially if you're tracking the currency and you don't need it over there like today, but maybe in the next month or two, and you're sort of watching it to see how it's going. You can set up email alerts every day to see what the exchange rate is. So you think, oh, this is the best I've seen it the last month or two. Boom, you can set that trade up and off she goes, sort of thing. So that's just a little plug for TransferWise and why I think it's probably the best provider here in Australia at the moment. If something else comes along better, then I'll look at that. But as it stands right now, I feel this is probably the best option for sending money internationally. We use it a lot. We're probably using it maybe once every couple of months or something like that. So I've used it a fair bit now, and I back at 100%. It's something I initially wasn't sending large amounts, but over the last sort of year or two, I've got a lot more comfortable with the platform as they've progressed. I see no dramas with it. That's made it super seamless to send money internationally, and at pretty good speed. Like, you can get it there, especially if you've done a transfer in the past with that particular account that you're sending money to. You could have it there within half a day, which is pretty incredible. So anyway, with that said, if you enjoyed today's video, guys, like always, give that little like button a bit of a little gentle touch, if you will. Give it a smash if that's what you're into. And if you want to see future videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date when the next video drops. Alright guys, stay safe out there, and hopefully we can all actually start traveling again rather than just sending money. But when that happens, that happens. Alright guys, stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers guys.